Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Chris from Shugghead Gaming, and this is my review for Pirate Flight VR. Developed by Frozen Gun Games, it releases May 1st for PSVR. I'm giving away 4 free copies of Pirate Flight, so stay until the end for details on how to win a copy. Pirate Flight VR was developed by just one guy, an actual rocket scientist, if you can believe that. Developed in his spare time, Pirate Flight VR is an extremely casual flight game with no landings, complex controls, or realistic physics. Channeling Rare's N64 games from the 90s, such as Pilot Wings and Diddy Kong Racing, does this game capture some of that magic? Let's find out. As always, guys, if you enjoy the video, hit that like button, and if you want more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing. Graphics are up first. The rare throwback to Nintendo's 90s games is immediately noticeable when jumping into Pirate Flight VR. Graphics are simple and colorful, but actually very sharp and come off as an extremely HD version of the flying stages in Diddy Kong Racing or Pilot Wings. Draw distance is also very sharp, with textures off in the distance still looking almost as sharp as those up front. When up close, textures, while lacking detail, actually have an almost painted appearance, which was actually a really nice surprise, as I was expecting blocky polygons instead. There really isn't much in the way of lighting and shadow effects happening here, so don't expect much in the way of fancy effects. The plane itself is rendered sharply, if a bit blocky in some spots, with working wing flaps and functioning dashboard instruments giving you race info and a directional arrow pointing you to your next objective. Planes and dragon-type creatures you fly against animate well and definitely reinforce the rare aesthetic. There are 3 different environments to fly around. These help to add some variety, but they aren't really all that interesting, and I couldn't help but feel that they were all kind of just a variation on one another. More cave systems and train variety would have been a welcomed addition, as I got tired of the 3 environments pretty quickly. Sound is up next. Sounds, again, what there is of them, come off as extremely 90s. Plane sounds are a basic rumble with really only 2 pitch changes between normal speed and boost, with transitions between the 2 sounding digitized and very 90s. Other sounds like the pop of your guns, flying through gates, and the flapping of dragon wings are adequate and again reinforce the retro sound design. While extremely basic, the sound effects won't drive you crazy. But the music will. I didn't mind the one song at all, but the one and only song over and over and over again started to drive me nuts. While also overly loud in the sound mix, I found myself diving desperately into the option menu only to find that I had the choice of either all sounds or no sounds. A sound mix control and some music variation would be extremely welcomed in a future patch. And that brings us to gameplay. Besides the pirate pilot, I've yet to understand why Pirate Flight was chosen as the title. Well, neither here nor there, Pilot Flight VR, while claiming to be the most casual flight game for VR, it definitely is that, and maybe too casual for many. You have 3 different modes: Ring Challenge, Racing, and Balloon Shooting. These modes are spread across 3 environments and 90 stages. While each environment does ramp up the difficulty, I rarely found myself failing a stage, and I beat the game in under 90 minutes. Flying is extremely basic, with flight controls being left, right, up, down, boost, and shoot. You pick up hearts to fill your fuel tank, but unless I got lost, I found myself holding the boost down the whole time and beating every racing game and time event very easily. Later balloon shooting stages offered the most challenge, and the dragons you race later on gave the most competition for the racing stages. While the whole experience came off as enjoyable and appropriately casual, I found myself wishing for more challenge and just ultimately more variety. All the mechanics work here and come off as polished and cared for. What I found myself wanting was just more game. Shooting mechanics mixed with the races, some weapon variety, plane variety, and power-ups would be the logical addition. With that variety, some online action would be welcome too. As I said, mechanically everything works here, and I can't help but feel that if Sony had helped this one-man team out, we may have had an actual Diddy Kong-esque kart/plane racing game in front of us. As is, the game will likely appeal mostly to those wanting a very simple flight experience or a younger audience looking for a simple thrill in VR. Motion sickness should be extremely limited, as the baked-in blinders and lack of plane roll makes for a fairly relaxed flight experience. More hardcore VR players will want a more robust experience, and you're in luck, as the developer is submitting a patch to enable blinders off and a more aggressive flight model. Here's a sneak peek of gameplay from that as yet to be released patch. This one-man team is listening to the community, and he seems very capable, but he is again only one guy, so let's see how this game develops over future patches. And that brings me to fun factor and my final verdict. This game, for what is here, plays nice, and its simple graphic presentation took me back to some classic rare games from the 90s. The problem is, there just isn't much variation here, from the environments to the gameplay and certainly the music. Like the description said, it's a very casual flight game, and yep, it is. As always, I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, or burn it to the ground basis. This game doesn't suck in the slightest, and it's definitely not shovelware as some have mentioned. If you want to see shovelware, check out this week's release of MLB Home Run Derby. This does, however, come off as a simple but polished little indie game, and that if it's priced right, might appeal to some. I'm not sure on the price yet, but I'm gonna say this will be a wait for a sale. It needs a few patches to fix some omissions, and there just isn't a lot of gain here. But hey, if the price is right, indie devs that give a shit about PSVR should be supported too. So if the price is right for you, maybe consider throwing Frozen Gun Games some love. Anyways, guys, as promised, I'm giving away 4 free copies of Pirate Flight VR because, hey, it's important to support small devs that give a shit about PSVR. To qualify is very simple. Leave a comment in the comment section below. And this Tuesday, May 1st, I will be posting another video on my YouTube channel listing the winners of those 4 free copies. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, hit like. And if you want to see more PSVR content from me, please consider hitting that subscribe button. That's it for me, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.